everybody, welcome back to another episode of Phenomenal Views. And first of all, I have to say, Happy Valentine's Day! The one day where you get to show the person that you love, even though you should show them that you love every day, even more love. And I know that that's like a retarded heart, but that's close enough. So what movie am I going to be talking about on this lovely day of love? Stuff that's filled with joy, love, pounding of the heart, not people selling their souls to save the people that they love or becoming part of a demon and becoming the Ghost Rider. Yes, Ghost Rider. Not the first one. No, that never happened. I'm talking about Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance, a good Ghost Rider movie. Now, before I start this review, I just want to say, for all those who have had a bad Valentine's Day, for all the people that I know, and anyone out there who's had a bad Valentine's Day, I just want to say, this review is for you. So, if you're watching this review right now, go down there. If you're watching this review, pay attention because get ready for some laughs and an awesome review. Alright, here we go. So, Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance is the sequel of the first movie, which they actually don't address that the first movie ever happened. I mean, I wouldn't either, because it didn't happen. But this movie is the sequel, and they did a really good job with this. And I'm just gonna say, a lot of people hate on this movie. I personally loved it. The first one was crap. Is the second one good for a nominee? No. Is it something that you must own? No. But it is much better than the first one. You've got to give it that. But now see, the story of Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance is about Nicolas Cage, who comes back as Ghost Rider, who would only come back if he could portray Ghost Rider, Johnny Blaze, in the right way. Because in the first one, they had him drinking jelly beans out of a martini glass because alcohol gives him nightmares. In the comics, Johnny Blaze is a booze-guzzling. He listens to heavy rock, heavy metal, and he's always down on his luck. In this movie, they don't acknowledge that he listens to heavy metal, but he's drinking. He's having to basically get rid of the nightmares by drinking alcohol. I mean, heck, if you had a demon inside of you and fighting for your sanity, wouldn't you be drinking too? Of course, I don't drink. Oh, by the way, that's totally water. But no. The movie kicks off with this guy named Moreau, who is coming to a temple who's saying there's only one way how we can keep the boy from getting access by the devil. And I'm just going to point that out right there. For those who have not seen the first Ghost Rider movie and have only seen this one, in Ghost Rider, the comic books, Johnny Blaze did not sell his soul to the devil. He sold his soul to Mephisto, a demon, not the actual devil. But now I can see where you'd want to use the biblical devil, because that does work as well. And he is not played this time by Peter Fonda. He is played by somebody else who was played in the movie The Woman in Black. He played the guy's friend that he just recently met. But anyway, he's playing the devil. And so the movie kicks off with these people coming after this boy known as Danny. And yes, this is supposed to be Danny Ketch, but they never say what his last name is, but as you know, Danny Ketch is the second Ghost Rider. Now, in this one, they say he is the son of the devil, and they go into an explanation how he is the son of the devil later on in the movie. But they are running away from them, and Moreau basically saves his mom and Danny from these people who are coming after him. And then we get to Johnny Blaze, played once again by Nicolas Cage, who's talking about how he's the Ghost Rider, how he made a deal with the devil. But now, what really happened was his dad was killed. When his dad was killed, he was taken in by his girlfriend Roxanne's dad, and when her dad has cancer, he sells his soul to Mephisto to try to repay him for everything that he's done for him. When her dad dies, Mephisto comes back and tries to claim Johnny's soul, and his girlfriend Roxanne takes a pure part of her soul and uses it to ward off Mephisto. And how he became the Ghost Rider is the demon Zarathos came in contact with his soul. That is how he became the Ghost Rider. How they say he became where the Ghost Rider came from in this movie is not actually true. How he sold his soul is not actually true either. But they're still going on from the story from the first one. But like it talks about like how he was a motorcycle driver, how he sold his soul to the devil, and how he became the Ghost Rider, and how the Ghost Rider is the judge. A judge who basically, he's the spirit of vengeance. He will look into your soul, and if you have any bad thing on your record, you're done. You're dead. So, he's talking about how he's always trying to get rid of it, and that was something in the comics. In the comics, Johnny Blaze is always having to try to fight to get rid of the curse that is inside him. So, Moreau comes up to him and finds him in Europe drunk, not really drunk, but he finds alcohol, and how Johnny Blaze keeps waking up and he keeps doing something with his hand, and I didn't get what that meant, but it's like how he made the deal. He crushed glass on his hand and threw blood to sign the deal. But he's basically like, you know about making deals, and he threw a bottle and made him have to go back into the darkness. It likes the dark, doesn't it? And he was basically saying, he's like, what do you want? How did you find me? Go away. And the thing with Nicolas Cage in this movie, yes, Nicolas Cage is an over-the-top actor, but the way how he portrays Johnny Blaze in this movie works phenomenally. Johnny Blaze, Nicolas Cage, looks creepy in this movie. He actually has a reason for acting like an escaped mental patient. But, like, you know, he's all creepy. He's like, go away. And, like, when he goes outside and he throws the chains around, what do you want? And he basically says, I need your help. You want your soul. And he talks about how he made the deal with the devil. And about how this boy is in more trouble for his life than just his soul. If you can bring us this boy, we will lift your curse. So naturally, Danny and his mom get attacked by the missionaries, and the missionary happens to be something from his mom's past. Apparently his mom was a gypsy and this guy is a mercenary. So the devil basically gets him to go after this kid, bring him back to me, I will pay you. So that's basically what he does. But when he's getting ready to attack, the Ghost Rider comes in. And the way that they set this up is every day, and this works great with Nicolas Cage, of like how he always acts freaky and like how he's like always over the top. This works so perfectly because each time at night he's having to fight the Ghost Rider. He's basically, okay, in one scene he's interrogating this one guy and he's scraping at the door. If you don't want to let him know, I'm gonna let him out. And this works perfectly because he's actually having to use all of his strength to fight the Ghost Rider, to keep him from coming out. It unfortunately doesn't work, but this time he needs him, so he's actually not trying to fight it. He's letting the Ghost Rider go free. And when I seen the Ghost Rider, I almost peed myself. Because this time, the Ghost Rider looks intimidating, unlike how fake he looked in the first one. But like, when he drives over and lands, and like they set this up perfect, like the chains dangling, how his motorcycle looks, and then they get like this awesome music. All of a sudden, you just hear this hiss, and like when they say we'll kill it, he just goes on like a freaking rampage, covering people with the hell chain, turning them into ashes, sucking out people's souls, and then they shoot him with rocket launchers, and then they end up knocking out the Devil's Kid, and then Nicolas Cage wakes up in a hospital in Europe. And so basically, he's having to fight off the pain of being hit with rocket launchers. And so since Danny is the devil's son, Kerrigan basically calls the devil and he's like, look, I have the kid, but you owe me some more money. I didn't know I was going to be stepping into a horror movie. What are you talking about? 3 of my guys got turned into matchstick last night by a guy on a motorcycle with his head on fire. So he puts this thing on Danny that basically keeps it from Johnny Blaze, aka the Ghost Rider, from finding him, but he can also still find Kerrigan. Oh, and he finds Kerrigan. So after his first encounter with the Ghost Rider, he basically goes to a friend to get weapons. And how they find him, once again, Johnny Blaze interrogates one of the guys, and basically, and this was like probably one of my other favorite scenes, is when he's having to hold back the Ghost Rider. And this makeup work had to be awesome, or it was CGI, but it looked really freaking awesome. When he was interrogating, his eyes kept like turning, like he would turn into the Ghost Rider, but he like had to hold it back, so like his eyes would get big, like into a skull, and he had to suck it back in. And so like when he finds out where he is, and he gets on the motorcycle, and he's driving down, like he just like starts freaking out and going like, and then he becomes Ghost Rider on the motorcycle, and he's trying to hold it back, but Psycho's knocking at the door. It's like when you're an alcoholic and you drink so much, but you're trying to stop. That addiction is gonna be knocking at the door like someone's coming to kill you, or the police is coming after you. So, but basically, we get to the quarry, and the quarry has got to be one of the best scenes in this movie. The quarry, it has Kerrigan getting his rocket launchers, coming after the Ghost Rider, and this guy's like, how many do you need? Just one. Just one. So when he comes after him, he shoots the rocket launcher at Ghost Rider, And he's like, that was sick, man. What? Aw, crap. And then all of a sudden, there's this Ghost Rider like... And he has both the chains, and I said this, you want to play? Let's play. All of a sudden, Ghost Rider starts throwing the chains, turning people into ash, making people split in half into ash, and then they fire another American bunker buster at him. When he shoots him with it, he mocks the Ghost Rider. Are you stupid? He's like, oh, I'm sorry, did that hurt? It looked like it did. And then one of my favorite, I know I keep saying one of my favorite scenes, but my favorite scene in this scene is when Ghost Rider gets in the freaking crane and tears crap up. And like, I love the laugh, like when he just starts operating the crane and he's like, and he just like goes all crazy, destroying crap, killing millions of bad people, but I mean, you know, it's the Ghost Rider. So then when he gets down from there, he goes up to Kerrigan and he's like, sorry, does it hurt? It looks like it does. And while this is happening, Danny's mom and Danny are on the run again. But all of a sudden, there's a connection between the two, between Danny and Johnny Blaze, aka Ghost Rider again. But it's because they both made it, it's because I guess they're both from the devil. Because the Ghost Rider was made from the deal and Danny is made from the devil. So when they run, they go to this gas station and they bring another joke. They bring a joke from the original. In the original, like when Johnny Blaze is like chugging coffee, he's chugging like a big thing of ice water and he's like, personally, I got some issues I'd like to get fixed. And we see like this, we see the bonding between Johnny Blaze and Danny Catch about like how Danny is basically saying, you know, my mom says you want to get rid of the Ghost Rider. You can get rid of it, but I can't get rid of what I have. Does this make me horrible? Does this make me evil? And Johnny Blaze is like, no. This thing that we have comes from a dark place, but it's not who we are. It never will be. And we can use it for good. And then Moreau comes up, like they have like this awesome scene. And I gotta give it to the director for doing this. How they filmed this scene, they actually had to be like attached to the motorcycle, but like on a string or something. And they actually were pulled by the motorcycle, so they were filming it. And it was like an awesome stunt show, basically. And there's one scene that I know a bunch of Ghost Rider fans were ticked at, and they say that a lot of people say this movie hasn't been taken seriously, and that's kind of true, it hasn't. It's better than the first one, but in my honest opinion, Ghost Rider should have been rated R to start with. It should have been rated R to start with. But he talks about like how he whenever he's the rider, he can change things. And it's like, hey, what if you have to pee when you're on fire? Oh, it's awesome. It's like a flamethrower. And then all of a sudden, and he laughs. And so Nicolas Cage talked about this in an interview about like how he's trying to get this kid to laugh. Because, I mean, you know, when you're being haunted by the devil and you have practically the devil inside of you, you know, it can make you be a little depressed, a little crazy. But then when they get to the monastery, we get the guy who played Lord Raiden from the Mortal Kombat movies. His head was shaved, and he was a monk. It was awesome. So, like, he basically says, it was God that led you here. And then we go into the scene of how they get rid of the Ghost Rider. About how basically he's like, look, Johnny Blaze is like, before we get rid of it, I want to know what it is. And he basically says, Zarathos was the spirit of vengeance, and he was covered with blue fire. But he was tricked and dragged down to hell and driven insane and became the spirit of vengeance. Full with lust, greed, and judging people. So they do the ceremony where basically Nicolas Cage has to go into a room by himself and, like, I don't know, I guess it's like God or something taking the rider away from him, but he wakes up and then all of a sudden he notices, hey, everybody's gone, what's going on? Then he hears some commotion and the monks are trying to kill Danny because they basically say, okay, we lied to you. There is no way to make this boy human. He's gonna stay the devil's son forever. And so they try to chop his head off. Before they chop his head off, though, when we get Kerrigan again, but basically, the devil is like, look, you made a deal with me, and I'm going to make sure you are able to carry it out. So he touches him, turns him into the villain, Blackout. And this time, he actually looks like a Ghost Rider villain. He doesn't look like a freaking Twilight reject. He has the long hair. He has the clothes right. And he's like covered in mold or something. Now, they did get his power, one of his powers right. I think he actually only has one. He's able to turn your world dark. But now they gave him the ability to turn everything into ash, which is something he actually cannot do. He cannot do that, but he looks a whole lot better than Blackheart from the first Ghost Rider movie, who didn't have bad puns and did not look like a Twilight reject. Twilight, you can eat me. So then when they're getting ready to kill Danny, all of a sudden here comes Blackout and turns them all to ash. And before he kills the one with the sword, he's like, peace, brother. Bam, kills him. And then he ends up capturing Danny. And then we find out that the monks lied to them, and about how, you know, he's like, all right, well, Danny's been captured. I promise I'll protect him, so we're going to go get him. And his mother's like, Danny's mother's like, you got what you wanted. Yes, I did. But if I could protect Danny, I promise I'm going to protect him, so I'm going to do it. And they find out that these priests have wine and guns. Where's this church? I want to go to this church. So they basically gear up for battle, and we find out that the reason the devil hops from body to body, which is something he doesn't do. Yes, the devil is on earth. I am a Christian. This is what I know is true. The devil does walk on earth, but he does not go from body to body to body. He can tempt us, but he does not go from body to body to body to body to body, as far as I know. So basically, what he's needing Danny for is basically when Kerrigan was having a big deal, she said, okay, she basically thought to herself, all right, I'm going to get out. She gets out, but she goes out of the third-story window, and she's dying, and the devil comes up, and he's like, you look like you could use a little help. So he allows her to have a son, which he will be able to transfer himself into Danny, where his body will not burn up. The body that he has is old, so whenever he uses his powers, it drains the body. And when he turned Kerrigan into Blackout, it made his skin age, like rot. So they're having the ceremony where they're going to transfer Danny, or they're going to transfer the devil into Danny, and Danny will not be there anymore. So they basically have all these people come at this one place, and they start doing this chanting, and then Moreau and Johnny Blaze come out, and, you know, they start having a fight and everything, and Moreau was just so freaking awesome. Bad A. Shooting people drinking wine and saying, hey, catch this, and then he kills the guy who's holding the wine. What a waste of good wine! So then we get the scene where Johnny Blaze comes back and starts attacking people, but he gets attacked by Blackout. So when he is being held by Blackout, the devil's like, you have no power, Blaze. You're nothing but an insect now. You know, you can't do anything. I've won. So then, like, Danny finally wakes up. And he's like, Danny, this is not who you are. And Blackout's just like running his fingers all over his face, making his skin melt, but rehealing. He's like, no, not yet. Not yet. So then, and another one of my favorite scenes is they bring back the Ghost Rider. But he looks at the devil and he's like, my powers and yours are the same. That's what you said. Right, Dad? Father like son. Then Johnny Blaze is like, do it. All of a sudden, Danny runs up and goes, ah! Ah! Basically throws up fire on him and brings back the Ghost Rider. Now, a lot of people have been wondering, okay, well, he's got unlimited power. Why did he pass out? And I'm thinking about it this way. He's a little kid. He used a lot of that power and it took up a lot of his strength. He passed out. Ghost Rider comes back, takes out all the bad people with his hell chain, gets on the motorcycle, takes out Blackout by basically reversing the ability on him. I don't get how, but he looks at Ghost Rider in the face and goes, I was never afraid of you. And then he does, and like he just gets in Ghost Rider's face, and Ghost Rider's like, ah! Sucks out his soul, and he falls on the road, and then he rots. And Ghost Rider's like, roadkill. And then we finally get the scene between him and the devil. The devil crashes the car, and he picks him up, and he roars at him. Ah! And he's like, you worst deal I've ever made. So then he throws him on the ground, wraps a chain around him, throws him up in the air. Go home. Throws him back to hell, does an awesome victory roar, but then his mother notices, Danny's mother notices that he looks dead. He picks up Danny, gives him to her, and then he becomes Johnny Blaze again for a minute, and then he's like, the angel. Moreau told me that the rider was an angel who went crazy. I can feel him. So then he touches Danny's face, and then he comes back to life, which is something that he cannot do. And then the movie ends with him turning into the blue Ghost Rider, and then the movie ends. Now, I know what a lot of people are thinking. A lot of people are thinking this is going to be the Danny Ketch Ghost Rider, because Danny Ketch was the blue Ghost Rider. No. we might be getting a third Ghost Rider movie. I don't know, but Nicolas Cage said he's not going to be around for that. So, until we get the third